Universalist, pedophiles, and rapists. So to me, that's an incredible honor and privilege. And I'm very, very happy to be accused of blasphemy by Unitarians. So anyhow, getting back to what I was saying, I did bring the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association had falsely accused me of blasphemous libel to the attention of Sue Montgomery, and made it clear that I thought this was a story that she should report in her capacity as the Gazette's justice reporter. Well, she did no such thing. Basically refused to report that story. I did contact the Gazette's city desk on several occasions after that, and it's also, I think, likely that I contacted the city desk prior to that, but in any case, certainly following my request that Sue Montgomery should report the Unitarian Universalist Association's attempted misuse of blasphemy law to cover up Unitarian Universalist pedophilia and rape, I did call the Gazette city desks on several occasions, and every single time the city desk person who answered the call, I believe at the time it was Allison Haynes, came up with all kinds of excuses as to why the story wasn't newsworthy. Really incredibly lame excuses. Just any excuse to just say, no, we're not reporting this. And I suspect that may be in part because Sue Montgomery had already wielded her influence within the Gazette to squash the story. But getting back to the other members of the church, as I said, there's Mark Abley, the Gazette's Word columnist, who may also have wielded influence. There's Harvey Shepherd, who denies having done so, but that doesn't mean he's telling the truth. It's possible that he wielded influence to suppress the story. There's also Nancy Lorimer, an administrative employee of the Gazette, or maybe retired now, but she... So there's like 4 prominent members of the Montreal Gazette who are also members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. So I think I have good reason to consider that it's likely that a few of them at least wielded their authority within the Gazette to prevent the story from being published. And Sue Montgomery, besides refusing to report the story, even prior to my being falsely accused of blasphemous libel by the UUA, was actually actively involved in attempts to suppress my protest here. That's a point I wanted to...
Good morning.
Good day, sir. Sue Montgomery was one of those Unitarian Universalists who were commonly involved in calling the SPVM to come to the church to shut down my protest. I saw on several occasions Sue Montgomery directly speaking with the police in efforts to have them force an end to my protests. Sue Montgomery also signed an affidavit associated with Reverend Diane Rollert's attempts to shut down my... Oh, there's Harvey Shepherd now. Coming from the taxi. It's always Happy New Year when I'm basking in the glory of being accused of blasphemy by Unitarians. It doesn't get much better than that. What a truly unique honor and privilege. So anyway, yeah, especially atheist Unitarians. I mean, that's the most hilarious aspect of the UUA's false blasphemous libel accusation, is that the UUA leaders who are most responsible for it are, of course, UUA President, the Reverend Dr. Peter Morales, who I have very good reason to believe is not only an atheist, but one of those sort of anti-religious atheists based on some of his comments, many of which have been hidden since he was elected president of the UUA. A lot of his sermons have disappeared, sermons which contained derogatory attacks on Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and so on. So those have all magically been erased from the internet. since President Morales was elected as president of the UUA. But my blog posts preserve some of that. And the other...
Good morning.
Good morning. It's always a good morning when I'm accused of blasphemy by Unitarians. It's truly a unique honor and privilege. Especially when it's atheist Unitarians accusing me of blasphemy. That's hilarious. So, anyway, getting back to the narrative here. We're actually having a pretty good New Year's protest, first protest of 2016. Anyhow, getting back to things, as I said, Sue Montgomery, in addition to being involved with, basically misleading phone calls to the police to try and shut down my protest, also participated in Reverend Diane Rollert's attempt to obtain a restraining order that would put an end to my protest, and signed a affidavit towards that end. So really no question that Sue Montgomery was actively involved in efforts to shut down my protest against Unitarian Universalist injustices, even before I was falsely accused of blasphemous libel by the UUA. And actually, it's now just over a year since Sue Montgomery started her Being Raped, Never Reported campaign. I think it was late October or early November of 2014 when Sue Montgomery and another Canadian woman whose name escapes me at the moment started the Being Raped, Never Reported hashtag on Twitter. And Sue Montgomery basically came out as a rape victim and came out, basically talking about why women don't report rape. So I found it incredibly ironic, that Sue Montgomery comes out as a crusader against rape, even when she is totally complicit in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. A little bit of a hypocrisy involved there. And so I protested that. I protested Sue Montgomery's complicity. I tried to expose her hypocrisy in terms of the Being Raped, Never Reported campaign. And it was actually almost exactly 13 months ago when I was protesting in front of the Tulip. There was a fundraising activity going on for the Being Raped, Never Reported campaign at La Tulip nightclub in Montreal. And so I was protesting against Sue Montgomery's complicity in the Unitarian Universalist Association's misuse of blasphemy law. I had a picket sign that was based on the Being Raped, Never Reported hashtag. It said, if I remember correctly, the exact words were, preteen children have been raped by Unitarian Universalist clergy, but the Gazette's justice reporter Sue Montgomery never reported the UUA's misuse of blasphemy law to cover up rape, or something like that. And there's a little minor inaccuracy in the preteen word, because depends on what the meaning of the word raped is actually, because there's no question that preteen children have been sexually abused by Unitarian Universalist ministers, a certain number of them. But in terms of actual convictions for rape, the ones that I'm aware of involve, in terms of clergy, specifically involve teenagers. So that doesn't mean that preteens haven't been raped by Unitarian Universalist ministers. It just means that in terms of actual convictions that I'm aware of, it's teenagers, not preteen kids. But on the other hand, as I said, preteen kids have been molested by Unitarian Universalist ministers, and Unitarian Universalist ministers have been convicted of child sex abuse offenses and sentenced to jail terms for them, even if they're not outright rape. So again, it depends upon what the meaning of the word rape is. If it's broadened out to include, unwanted sexual touching and so on, molestation, well then, yeah, it works. But I've since modified the slogan to say, I don't remember. Anyway, I changed preteen to something that fit the bill, like innocent or I'm trying to remember the exact word, but off the top of my head I can't. Anyway, as a result of this protest, Sue actually, as I was actually protesting, because I'd been protesting a few days earlier, so Sue was already aware of my protest, already aware of various blog posts and tweets that exposed their complicity in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up. As I'm protesting, I was handed a cease and desist demand letter by a bailiff in which the media lawyer who normally works for the Gazette and other newspapers, Mark Banty of Gowling, Henderson, Lafleur, accused me of libeling Sue. So he listed off some of the quotes from my tweets and blog posts and pretended they were false when in fact they're no such thing. They're actually very, very truthful and supported by evidence. Pretended that they were libel and said that Sue would not hesitate to sue me. Well, guess what? It's almost exactly 13 months and Sue hasn't sued me yet. So what does that say?